welcome to episode 24. Today we're going to do the second part of the series we started last week, and this is once again on how, as a mom, you can be teaching your children just through the ordinary activities of life. So, turn it over to Mom to start today.
All right. Now, as I said before, this is not an exhaustive list. This is just kind of giving you some suggestions of things that we did, and then that might just spur you on to be thinking about ways that you could make those rides in the car and those trips to stores and outings that you have, and take full advantage of that time with them. It's like it says in Deuteronomy about as you walk in the way and as you sit down in your house and as you lie down and you sit at the table. There's all these opportunities to interact with your children, and we want to encourage ways to, with no stress, use those opportunities. Okay, the first one is you want to get the most out of your vacations. I remember when my sister and I were in college and my brother was in high school, my parents planned a trip to Yellowstone National Park. Well, my brother did a lot of research, and he ended up knowing every geyser and how often they erupted and when they were discovered. So when we went to that park, he just got the most out of it. He was prepared and just enjoyed it to the hilt, and he still loves going up there and doing more discovery. So that's a good way to use your vacation time. And also with our children, we're learning California history. The older ones, when I was staying home with the babies and toddlers, we read them some stories about the California Gold Rush. We read them Bible passages about people wanting to get rich quick and how those can be fleeting, and about that stage in California history. So then they went there and went to museums and abandoned mines, and it was a nice thing because they were prepared. And at one of the museums, the curator there said that the week before, a child found a gold nugget in the parking lot, and so that really spurred those three children, and they were just looking all over the gravel on their way back to the car. So use trips like that to their full advantage. They make memories. They fit in with their knowledge and understanding, and so make the most of trips and vacations. Also, teach them how to take notes. I used to have the children sit next to me in church when my husband was preaching. He used an overhead projector. At that time, that's something that's been replaced by more modern things now. But I would sit there and take notes for the children and draw pictures and kind of whisper and explain what on their level what he was preaching and all. So that's a real helpful tool. And then later you can have them learn to take outline notes, and it's just very good skill, and a lot of people don't know how to do that. Also, it's one thing you can do when you're traveling or in the car is to play 20 questions. And if you don't know what that is, I think probably most people know, is you pick a person, place, or animal, and you say, I'm thinking of, and you might say an animal. And you don't tell them what it is, and they have to guess what it is by each taking a turn to ask a yes or no question. Well, they have to have really good observation and pay attention, because they have to pay attention to the answers that the other people have asked, and then they can kind of narrow down what that animal might be, or a person, or a place. So things like that are fun ways to get them to concentrate, pay attention to details. Then we wanted to learn from each visitor, and if a visitor comes to your home, learn to ask good questions and have the children around you too, so that they can hear about different places this visitor has lived, different jobs they've had, and interesting places that they've visited. So those can be just like a nice field trip come to your home. They can open up the world to the kids and kind of inspire them to go and travel someday. And let me see, we chose documentaries to listen to. I think we talked before about we didn't have TV, but we had a DVD player, and you can do YouTube videos. There's a YouTube channel called Geography Now with an exclamation point, and this fella has a way of teaching all about the main things about each country of the world. He's gone through them alphabetically. He's goes to a church that one of my sons attended in the past, and so he has a way to kind of wrap your mind around a whole country in a fun way that's kind of very memorable and fun to watch. So that kind of opens up the world to them. And also there's a website called Creation Evolution Headlines, but the way you find it is CR for creation, EV for evolution .info. Now what that is a summary of newest science research that is coming out, and it's a connection to journal articles, scientific journals, and then a response of showing how lots of times these journals will try to twist this information into an evolutionary context, and this website is showing how that doesn't make any sense, and it's a good analysis of that. And also one thing that's nice is it has every month there's the Creation Scientists of the Month. And these are scientists that are Bible believers, that were creationists, that really have formed the basis for much of our knowledge in the current scientific world. So it's very nice for the kids older kids to be able to see that. When Christy was in high school, homeschooling, we designed a science elective, and we called it Science Discovery Past and Present. And so she was to read 3 of those articles that were new discoveries and read the whole thing and be able to explain it to us. And also she would study the Scientists of the Month, the Creation Scientists of the Month. So some of you homeschoolers that have older kids, you might want to use that, and I'll have Christy put up the website address so that you can do that if you'd like. And then encourage hobbies. We had our kids go to a woodworkers club, and they were pretty much all older men, but they were just tickled pink that we had our kids there, and the kids had their woodworking things, and so that was a fun thing. But there's a lot of hobbies that are not just waste of time, but they increase their skills. So encourage that and help them get the materials they need for that. And while we're riding in the car, you can do mental math. Okay, say who can come up with this math problem, and you can give 2 numbers like 147 and 98, and say who can add it in their head fastest, and just give them the skill of being able to think those things. Also, you can quote passages that you've memorized in the Bible in the past, and so that's a fun way to keep that current. And then if you say states, and say who can tell me the capital of this state, and they can have fun doing that. So that's just some ideas. That there's more things, of course, many more things you can do, but these are some things you can just fit into your day without needing a lot of equipment or trying to reschedule life. These fit into walking in the way, sitting down, and lying down at bed. So make every moment count, and do it with enthusiasm and joy and encouragement.
Okay. Thank you for watching, and I think next week's episode is going to focus on how to help your children interact with the older generation and specifically elderly people. So helping your kids to bridge that generational gap, and let's talk about tips on how to do that. And so thank you again for taking the time to watch, and we hope it's an encouragement to you. Feel free to comment in the comment section of the video, and if you could, would you comment where you're watching from, whether it's a state or country, just so we can have the fun of knowing who the audience is on YouTube and get some participation that way. So comment in the comment section where you're watching from, and we'll see you next time.
And we wish we could invite you all over to our house, but we're hoping that this is helpful to you in some ways, and we just pray that it will be.
All right. Okay, well, thank you again. Bye.
So long.